Today we're going to talk about Perm products and essentials. All right, so first of all, the products that we use transform the hair from straight to wavy or curly. So the hair is wrapped around the rods and then the bonds are broken. These bonds that go across here, you can see they are broken here by the Perm solution, by the ammonium thioglycolate or the glycerol monothioglycolate, which is the main ingredient in acid perms. You rinse the solution out, and then when you put the neutralizer on, the bonds are rejoined in their new configuration. Okay, so it's the disulfide bonds, remember, that are broken. Okay, there's two kinds of perms generally used: alkaline or cold perms that are processed without heat. These start working the minute you put it on the hair. And acid perms need heat of some kind. So when you get to be very, very fast at wrapping a perm, you can take someone with very stiff, thick, coarse hair, and you can squirt the alkaline cold perm on the hair and wrap it with the perm solution already on. And what that does is, as soon as the perm solution hits the hair, it makes it able to bend. It takes away a lot of that stiffness. So that's a trick that we use to wrap with perm solution. However, you do have to be very fast. This isn't something that you could take a long time to wrap if you had the perm solution on before you wrapped them on the rods. All right, so I'm going to hold up. Here is an alkaline perm, okay? And it says this alkaline perm is good for normal, resistant, or tinted hair. So this is where you're gonna look on the box when you're choosing what you're going to use. Okay, it gives you a firm curl. Alkaline perms are firm. Okay, then we have an acid perm, also by Quantum. Okay, it says this acid perm is good for normal, tinted, or highlighted hair. This is the hardest one to get the right perm solution for because it has to be strong enough to curl the hair that's not highlighted, but gentle enough on the highlighted hair that has lightener on it. Okay, you can see it says it's soft. It's a soft curl. It's not a firm curl because it's an acid perm. Okay, and the ingredients inside will then tell you if you have to mix anything, if you're going to put this, cover the hair with a cap and put it under a dryer. You have to look at all of these, all the directions inside. Okay, so here's a little chart with this. Okay, so alkaline perms, the solution is what breaks down the hair, that breaks the bonds, but an acid perm needs heat, tension, so you wrap that a little tighter, and the perm solution. Okay, they always say don't wrap an alkaline perm with a lot of tension because it will break the hair. I think hairdressers tend to wrap both of them with tension, but that is part of what is needed. It's not strong enough on its own. It needs the heat, the tension, and the perm solution to break the disulfide bonds. Okay, so both of them softens the protein structure, breaks the bonds, and lets the bonds shift and assume the shape of the perm rod. Okay, but remember, you're not done just because you put the perm solution on. If you put the perm solution on, rinse the hair, and forget to put the neutralizer on, you will have nothing. And even worse than that, you will have the cuticle will still be open, the hair will be rough, it will be tangly. It will eventually close on its own after a period of about 24 hours, but for a while it's going to be pretty bad. So you cannot forget the neutralizer. You need both parts to make a perm work. All right, an alkaline perm has a pH range of 8 to 9.5. So if you remember, neutral is 7, okay? Our hair, skin, and nails is 4.5 to 5.5. So you're up to 8 to 9.5, so the pH is getting pretty high there. It causes the hair to swell. Again, it should be wrapped without tension. The main ingredient is thioglycolic acid or its derivatives in ammonium hydroxide. So we say the main ingredient is ammonium thioglycolate. You put these two together, and it's a shorter processing time. I have worked with perms in the past that literally had a 2-minute processing time. This is a perm we would use when people were in a hurry. They needed to get out of the salon very quickly, but you can imagine how strong something was to break the bonds in that amount of time. Okay, an acid or a heat perm, it's a pH range of 6.9 to 7.2, so it's much closer to that 4.5 to 5.5. It causes only minimal swelling, so you're going to wrap it with tension. The main ingredient now is glycerol monothioglycolate. So this one is ammonium thioglycolate. So it's ATG. ATG is the shorthand for that. And this one is GMTG. Glycerol monothioglycolate. Okay, so it's a different main ingredient, and it requires a longer processing time. It's softer, and it takes a longer amount of time to do this. All right, alkaline perms are processed without heat. They're known as cold waves. The pH, we talked about what the main ingredient is. There's a definite smell of ammonia with these. Because of the high alkalinity, use caution and skill to prevent damage to the hair structure and chemical burns to the skin. Okay, we take care of the chemical burns to the skin with cholesterol or a barrier cream around the hairline, and then the cotton, and then we change the cotton. Once we apply the perm solution, we don't let the wet cotton on that skin. We change it so there's dry cotton again to keep that perm solution off there. Okay, damage to the hair structure. You would never want to take like a highly highlighted hair and put an alkaline perm on it. Okay, it's just going to fry the highlighted hair. And in fact, when they first tried to come up with perms for that, the hair always looked fried. But it was better than just using, you know, the old perms. They were trying to make it more buffered, so it didn't do that, but it still wasn't good. All right, it's not recommended for highly porous hair, wrap without tension, and it starts as soon as the solution is applied. It starts working. Acid perms recommended for highly porous hair, so a little bit more damaged, highlighted, things like that. It's processed with heat, so known as a heat perm. Okay, the bonds again are broken by the heat, tension, and perm solution. There's the pH on there. The heat and the tension boost the penetration of the glycerol monothioglycolate, so that's what helps get it in there. And if you don't rinse, now I feel like this is for any perm. I don't know why they just have it under acid perms, but if you don't thoroughly rinse the perm solution out, you still have perm solution left in that hair. You blot it, and then you put the neutralizer in, which closes the cuticle. It traps that odor in the hair. Especially when I was a little girl getting perms, every time, literally every time you shampooed your hair, you got that fresh perm smell. Okay, advantages. Alkaline, strong curl. Fast. Better for resistant hair, absolutely, and no need for heat. Acid perms or heat perms, you get soft natural curl pattern, more gentle, more control, better for fragile or chemically treated hair. Now, even if you're using an alkaline perm in the beauty salon and it's a cold perm, that does not mean that you can let someone sit with this perm on in front of a air conditioner in the summer, or that it's cold in your salon. That will affect the perm, trust me. You have to have a nice warm temperature in your salon. Say it is summer, it's sweltering hot, you have the air conditioner on just so that everyone can breathe. What you can do is you can heat up a hood dryer like we have over by the manicure tables, and then you turn it off and put the hood down over the person's head. And what it does is it just creates a warm environment around their head. It's not adding heat, but it's keeping the air conditioner from blowing on their head. It will keep the perm solution from working properly. All right, other perm product types. Exothermic, all right? Self-heating and self-timing. Okay, these are all awesome. Exothermic perm is good for normal, resisted, or tinted hair, and it's ultra firm. So if you use the alkaline perm on someone and you feel like it just wasn't strong enough for their hair, you can then go to the exothermic. The fun part about it is you have two things that need to be mixed, your perm solution and an additive. Again, please make sure that you read the directions before you start, even if you've done 100 of these. If you have perms that take a pre-wrap and you have perms that take an additive before you, it has to be mixed before you put it on the hair, you will get confused in the heat of the moment. You're rushing, you've got all these clients in there, you have to slow yourself down for a second, reread the directions, and make sure which one it is. If it is a pre-wrap, that needs to be squirted on the hair before you section and wrap. Then you put the perm solution on. If it's an additive, right before you put it on the hair, you're going to mix those two things. In the case of an exothermic perm, they're going to react with each other. The solution's going to turn warm, and then you put it on. And it is self-timing, so 20 minutes. Okay, it's going to just like stop. It's not going to have enough power to keep working past then. Okay, the pH can vary. It can be alkaline or acid, and it's available for all hair types. Okay, low or no theo, so we don't have the ammonium thioglycolate in there. Instead, we have cysteamine hydrochloride. Good for people that may have had an allergic reaction to a perm. Okay, the cuticle layer is not lifted as much, and it will reform up to 60% more bonds during neutralization. I've given these very, very, very infrequently, pretty much to one client. She was also a hairdresser, and this is the type of perm she wanted on her hair. All right, ionic or heat perm. This could be your digital perm. So you have a computer that digitally controls the temperature of each perm rod, giving the stylist a good deal of control. It produces soft-looking waves and curls, which are more defined when dry and looser when wet. Okay, so I had said that before in another one. I didn't know if I got that backwards or not. So you can actually see the curls better when it's dry. And it thermally reconditions the hair using the perm solution in the heated rod. So your hair should actually be more healthy when you're done than before you started. And if you want to see a really good video about this, Google Guy Tang Digital Perm. It's about 5 years old. He's in a salon. This was invented by the Koreans. I believe the young ladies in the video are Korean, and they are giving a client a perm, and it is very dry looking before they start, and it's beautiful and shiny when they are done. Okay, what do you need to know about a neutralizer? It's the final step. It puts the disulfide bonds back together while lowering the pH of the hair. Remember, our hair, skin, and nails like 4.5 to 5.5. So we can't let the pH up there at 6.9 to 7.2 or 8 to 9.5. Our hair is not going to be happy there, so the pH brings, the neutralizer brings the pH back down. Main ingredient is usually hydrogen peroxide, sodium perborate or sodium bromate, and you can see how low the pH is, 2.5 to 7, and it brings the swelling back down that was caused by the perm solution. All right, barrier or protective cream, okay, also known as a base cream. You can use petroleum, which would be like Vaseline. You apply it to the hairline and ears. It helps to keep the cotton around the rods better and protects the skin. All right, and then this is super duper 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 important that people that are younger are not going to know because they have not experienced the perm revolution like we did. Applied to areas of the hair that are not being processed. So I said this in another video. If you are only wrapping part of the hair, anything you're not wrapping, whether that's the bangs, the back of the head, anything, has to be coated with cholesterol or a very heavy conditioner, because if that perm solution gets into that hair and that hair is brushed sideways, the cotton's making it go sideways, the towel's wrinkling it up, it will perm like that. All right, air oxidation. Okay, oxidation can achieve the same results as the neutralizer. Okay, so basically what they're saying here is you technically could go home for 24 to 48 hours, sit in the corner, and at the end of that time, take the perm rods out and it would be neutralized. However, that is obviously not very practical, okay? So that's why the neutralizer was invented, to speed this up to 5 minutes. You rinse for 5 and the neutralizer is on for 5 minutes, okay? And employers are required to have safety data sheets for all products. Okay, so the safety data sheet tells you what any ingredients in the product that could potentially be harmful, what to do if someone squirts it in their eye, someone accidentally drinks it, if it spills, etc. It gives you all those kinds of directions. And I've used it once in 40 years, but it was nice to have. I was very happy that I had it. Lady got a perm. We put barrier cream around her hairline. We put cotton around her hairline, gave her the perm. Somehow the perm solution got past the barrier cream and the cotton. She came back in the next day. She was a very nice lady. She was not nasty at all. You could see a perfect line where the barrier cream and the cotton had been, and nothing was wrong with her skin. Closer to, say, her eyes and her nose and her mouth, you could see where the solution had run and gotten on her skin, which we didn't know, she didn't know, no one knew that this had happened. And it caused her eyes to swell shut, and she had to come in and get the MSDS from us, the safety data sheet, and take it with her to the emergency room so they could treat her. Okay, that was very scary. Her skin looked red and irritated. Again, once in 40 years, but you got to have it so you know what to do in those situations. All right, perm tools. You have your applicator bottle. Okay, remember, you do not want to take a pair of scissors and cut the nozzle of the applicator bottle. The hole will be too large, and when you squirt the solution, too much will come out at one time and you will run out of solution. So you're going to take a T-pin and stick it in the end of the nozzle, and that way it forces you can go over every rod twice. Once you're sure that every rod has been saturated twice, you do not need to keep squirting the perm solution on until the bottle is empty. Basically, all that's going to do is just run down their neck, try to get on their clothing, run on their face. But you may need all that perm solution depending on who you're working on. You may need more than one perm. If you're working on thick, heavy hair and they're getting a spiral perm, 2 perms is normal. All right, your perm rods. However big that perm rod is determines how curly the hair is. All right, a styling comb to comb the hair, a tail comb to section. All right, and it says check if a choice of a plastic or metal tail comb is allowed. As far as I know, we're allowed to use those. Okay, a plastic shampoo cape, not a cloth one. The solution will go right through that. And towels. Towels, 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 and more towels. A towel under the cape, a towel over the cape. When you're done applying the solution, check the towel on the top of the cape and change it. Reach underneath the plastic cape and check the towel underneath the cape. If it has perm solution on it, you're going to pull it out from underneath the cape and you're going to put a nice dry one on there. You do not want this perm solution sitting against the skin with cotton or a towel. Okay, a perm bib or a neutralizing cape. We actually have these. This would be more for someone that absolutely could not get into the shampoo bowl. You tie it around their head, and as you put the solution on, it runs, obviously it gets on the rods, but then the excess runs in and it's caught by a pocket down here, rather than running into the sink like it normally would. So it just protects them if, for whatever reason you can't get them into a sink. Cotton, okay, it protects the skin. Again, make sure you remove that, have a dry piece ready to go before you take that off, and make sure that it's always dry. Okay, sectioning clips, obviously when we're going to part it in 9 sections. End papers controls the hair ends. You can never, ever, ever wrap a perm without an end paper. You would have fish hooks all over the place that would have to be cut off. It also helps draw the perm solution into the hair because of the absorbency of the end paper. All right, picks. All right, so I brought a pick that we have. Our picks look like this. They're in the drawer where you find the little black rubber bands and things like that, and you slip it underneath about 3 rods at a time, and it holds the rubber bands off the hair so there's no breakage. You'd want to do that on the whole head when you were worried about the hair, but I usually just did about 2 or 3 on the top just to make sure that nothing was broken up there. All right, spray bottle. You want to keep that hair damp. Water is your friend when you're wrapping a perm. And gloves. That's entirely up to you. I don't use gloves with a perm, but you most certainly can. You can keep those chemicals off your hands. All right, so you are going to put a plastic cap on. The ones that we have with the elastic are the best. An infrared lamp, that's just going to add heat, or the hood dryer if it's calling for heat. Again, a plastic cap. It keeps the solution from drying out, and it keeps any body heat in to help process the perm. And a timer, I don't generally trust the timers. I've just never had any good luck with it. I'll use the timer on my phone, or I just use the clock and know what time that someone is done. Shampoo bowl and a styling chair, obvious. All right. Processing or waving lotion is applied to break disulfide bonds, soften the protein structure, and allow protein chains to assume shape of perm tool. True or false? There are 2 general categories of perms used in the salon, alkaline and acid. True or false? Acid perms cause only minimal swelling, therefore it is essential that the hair be wrapped with firm. Exothermic perms are self-heating, and the main ingredient found in most neutralizers is either hydrogen peroxide, sodium perborate, or before applying the perm solution, protect the skin by applying the client is protected from chemicals and water by end papers control the hair ends when wrapping and during processing, rinsing, and neutralizing equal blank and blank. Okay, first one, true. Breaks the bond, softens the structure, and allows it to assume the shape of the perm tool. True. 2, alkaline and acid. Okay, acid perms have to be wrapped with firm, even tension. Exothermic perms are self-timing. 20 minutes, they're done. Main ingredient in neutralizer is also sodium bromate. Before applying the perm, apply a barrier cream, and the client's protected for chemicals and water by a plastic shampoo cape. And end papers equalize porosity and absorbency. It draws that perm solution in and allows it to absorb the solution.